It is David Marinac. I was asked from a comment on one of our YouTube videos from somebody in the packaging space asking about not only fabricated foam, but also how to make money in the contract or supplying packaging to the contract manufacturers. So I really put this together, just basically follow along here, if you will. I'll go back to these main bullet points, but first of all, let's talk about fabricated foam. Now, fabricated foam in and of itself, and a lot of times, and I'm gonna scroll down here so people know what I'm talking about. These are examples of fabricated foam. Now, why it's important. Fabricated foam can come in obviously different shapes and sizes. A lot of people that have been in the packaging space all kind of cut our teeth in this department, meaning if you can see this pink foam up here for a keyboard, many of us got into packaging electronics and appliances with different types of foam like this that would capture or surround or encapsulate the product itself. Then that would drop into a corrugated box or an outer container. Here is something that's basically a type of foam that lines a rigid case. So the point is that there's definitely money to be made in fabricated foam, but there's different ways to make money or higher margins in this space, which is what I really wanted to focus on for this particular question. Now, there's a couple different reasons why I'm not a huge fan as far as no one's going to retire on fabricated foam. Even if you own the factory, you're just not. So I'm just going to kind of enlighten you on this because there's a lot of competition. Generally speaking, there's not a ton of volume. Even if you're working with the Dell computers or divisions of Dell or Intel or whatever, most of those divisions are not going to be buying in hundreds of thousands or millions, okay? So yes, you can make money, you can make a decent profit margin or whatever it is, but fabricated foam in and of itself is not something that you're going to retire from. Now, if you want to find opportunities to make more or higher margins when you're dealing with fabricated foam or foam in general, let me dial this in for that particular question. Now, if you could ever get a customer to move into molded foam, not fabricated. So when we talk about fabricated foam, these pieces here are glued. They're manufactured or die cut, and then these little pieces, parts, if you can see my cursor, these are all glued on here. A lot of this stuff is a die cut process, sliced and slit, and then glued into this case. Same thing over here. Now, if you get into molded foam, that's the nice thing about molded foam is it's actually one solid piece. Now, when we're talking about molded foam, this is the kind of foam that you would see. Let me see if I can find an example of a molded piece of foam. And I think it's important for us to see if you can find this. So a molded piece of foam would basically be, instead of this being fabricated and glued, you'd create a mold and that would be one solid piece of foam. And the reason why that is an opportunity to make more money are two things. Number one, you can make more money selling the mold or the tooling for this, which can be expensive, but it does make a much cheaper, much more efficient run. So if you do have a customer that wants to get into a molded piece of foam, and how you sell that is it's a longer term run. They feel like they're going to have this part and it's going to be around for a while. So better to invest in the tooling and have a lower per piece price over the course of this. And it's really not hard to justify if somebody's looking a little bit more than 6 months to a year. When you do that, the price of tooling, which would be, $5,000, $10,000, maybe more. But if you do spread this out over the course of a year or 2 years, whatever, you can definitely make a case for investing in tooling. So you make more money that way. Another thing you can do, which I think is quite clever, a lot of this fabricated foam here that is die cut then glued, some foam companies can actually CNC or even water jet. So example, they would take a piece of foam and instead of having these pieces cut and then glued, a water jet would actually cut these sections out, almost like a CNC machine would cut steel. This would actually, it would be water, very, very high strength water, which would cut these intricate little pieces, parts, and cells, if you will, in the foam. That's another way to make more money in the fact that you can sell them something that is CNC made or fabricated that looks like it's molded. So you're going to make more money on the per piece price, and it's going to get that wow factor for the client. Client's going to look at this and go, wow, this looks like it was, there was a machine made or a tool made. So, and by the way, when you get into some of these more intricate styles of foam, oftentimes the end user is, if instructed properly, can return these, package things back up and return them. So, the more delicate or the more intricate a piece of fabricated foam looks like, oftentimes the end user is not so apt to just throw it away. And in this world that we're living in right now, where a lot of people are very concerned, and rightfully so, about the environment, that is a great opportunity when it comes to getting this back. Let's face it, if you can get 1 or 2 turns out of this fabricated foam, you've just paid for it over and over again. And then the other thing I really want you to really focus on too, and this is where a lot of packaging people tend to forget, and I find this is found money. If you want to make a little more money and consistently make more money for your customers, don't forget that the end user, the customer, is looking for any way to improve their bottom line. The point is anytime you can not only take the fabricated foam, but place it inside and assemble the carton or whatever box or container that it goes into, and then supply that entire kit, that entire assembly to that customer, you have an opportunity to make higher margins. So the more you can make it easier or less expensive for your customer, if you provide them these kind of things in a ready-made kind of container or unit, that too, you can certainly make another 10, 15, 20% margin on those kind of things as well. So that's kind of the first dive here into the fabricated foam side of things to answer this one particular question. And then the next question was, how do you make money selling to contract manufacturers? So here's where I'm going to show you a couple other things when it comes to similar kind of question, how to make money as a packaging reseller to the contract manufacturer. Now remember, contract manufacturers are those that are going to either be filling packaging, be producing and making. For example, you may have a contract manufacturer that is a blender of supplements or protein powder, and they will bring in bulk and then mix it and then drop it into containers or bags or stick packs or whatever it may be. And then you also have contract manufacturers who really do the entire thing, meaning there are some contract bakeries, some contract blenders, and then, they'll literally do things from start to finish, meaning they will take raw ingredients, blend and mix to create like rice pilaf. Then they'll take that and package it into individual packs, then take those packs and put them into a case of 12, then take those case of 12 and put them into a master display. You see where I'm going? So there's a lot of different pieces, parts, if you want to sell to the contract manufacturer. Now, here's the key thing. Anything you can do, remember, and this is where a lot of people miss out on, contract manufacturers, they're not making anything. They're buying the packaging, buying the components, buying the ingredients. Sometimes people will send it to them, but remember, if you want to make money in this space, you're going to have to help them save or do something more efficiently.
I hope you like this content. If you want more of it, I put together a specialized packaging alliance, a group of packaging professionals that are in different facets of this industry. We have webinars, we have meetings. The idea is to share information about this great industry of packaging, whether that be from the sales side of things to the marketing, even to the end users. My point with this is I'd love to have you join us, the Specialized Packaging Alliance. Check out the link below to learn more. Thanks.
In this particular case, this gentleman asked how they could make more money or make money selling contract manufacturers? And frankly, I've got two things. Number one, you can innovate, meaning you can give them and provide them with packaging that they really cannot find anyplace else. You'll see examples here. If you can take a company that is buying rigid buckets and take them into something flexible, or rigid bottles and take them into a flexible material, or replace a big 2-pound tub of protein powder and put that into something that is 85, 90% less material. All those kind of things can end up being a unique value add for the contract manufacturer and also allow the salesperson to make some more money on the front end. Let me explain. So in this particular case here, what I'm showing is taking these rigid bottles with a spray trigger. Now, a lot of this stuff here is very easy to do in the flexible space. Again, to be able to make a pouch with a trigger on here, now you're suddenly using 85, 80, 90% less material, giving the same benefits of the trigger, but it ships flat, stores flat, is 100% recyclable. These are the kind of things that really will grab a contract manufacturer's attention, because the contract manufacturer is also buying and reselling. So if you can give them an opportunity for them to make higher margins when they sell this back. For example, worked with a company for years called Roland Manufacturing, and they were a food distributor. And they were working with a company out of Kansas City that was going to blend and fill and pouch their rice pilaf or couscous or something like that. Now, the problem is that they were buying packaging, meaning the contract manufacturer, and they were then marking that packaging up another 30%. So let's just say the cost of a jar was 10 cents, and they were now marking it up 30%. That's a big number to suddenly add on top of what they could be making when they sell into a major retailer. The point is that if you're able to work with the contract manufacturer to get them into something that's innovative, something that's less cost, of course, but something that's actually going to grab the customer, the end customer's attention for their customers, now you're onto something. In this particular case, you've got these rigid containers here, and just a quick example of something inflexible, big, large, 40-pound capacity spouted pouch. Here's another where you've got those rigid containers for the liquid detergent that we all use, and now you've got something that can be made in a type of flexible pouch with a handle and a pour spout. Again, just a quick example of ways to innovate, ways to change what a customer's using and get them into something else that they wouldn't have thought of. This is another example here, and this is really technically what we call a sustainable example. It is a sustainable and eco-friendly example as well. So really and truly, sustainable packaging is something that you can use less material to accomplish the same task, okay? So 2 pounds of protein powder actually fits in this side gusset flat bottom pouch. And when you're looking for an example of not just a cost savings, that's a gimme, but this kind of entire life cycle. You've got this pouch itself that uses less material. They ship flat, they store flat, they are 100% recyclable. You can see, obviously, it holds much more in a much smaller footprint. So all these things are advantages when it comes to the amount of space it takes up getting there, the amount of space something is on a store shelf or in a consumer's cupboard, if you will. So all these kind of things are all part of that bigger picture. So when you want to sell to a contract manufacturer, the thought being is sell them something they either haven't thought of or they don't know they can get, or last example over here, something that they've never seen before. A lot of contract manufacturers are in the pet space. This one happens to be kitty litter. Now, there's nothing here that's earth-shattering, except what we're looking at here is a integrated handle on the side of a 30-pound bag or 20-pound bag of kitty litter. Now, why this is important if you're a contract manufacturer. Number one, nobody else has this. So if you're the contract manufacturer supplying this to a pet company in kitty litter, and you're able to offer them something in packaging that is not only unique, but is really highly favored by the consumer, meaning they don't have to throw this over their shoulder. There's a handle. They can literally pick this up and put it in their cart. They can pick this up on one hand and take it with them. There's a lot of advantages here to selling into a contract manufacturer with packaging they may not have seen or thought they could ever get on their own. So how you make money in the contract packaging space, again, is being able to penetrate that account, get past just quoting stuff, find out what in fact they're currently using, find ways to get them something that they have not seen before, or they're not familiar with, or they don't think they're capable of getting it. A lot of contract manufacturers and the buyers for them just assume anything like this integrated handle or any of these side or flat bottom side gusset bags, they would need to buy millions of these things. And that's just not true. And that's really where you, as the packaging reseller, the packaging salesperson, can get in front of them, show them what is different, what is unique, what you can get for them in much smaller minimum runs, test orders, trial orders. And now suddenly you have something they didn't think they could get. And now you're also being able to help them and you make more money in the long run. So anyhow, I hope this made sense. We covered a lot here. We covered the fabricated foam side of things and the different advantages and disadvantages in that. And we also looked at selling into the contract manufacturing space. A lot more here to it. Happy to jump on a call at any time and explain this to anybody that's interested. We have free training, free coaching, lots of this kind of information to help you grow your business on the packaging side. Hi everyone, it's David Marinac. I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you want to see more, here's another video that you can check out, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Thanks.